Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We are coming at you live every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. And as always, I'm your host, Michael Dolce, and I am joined, as always, by the Lord of the... We're doing Lord of the Podcast, Lord of the Radio? What are we doing here, actually?
Lord of the Radio. Why does this happen every week?
I don't know.
Why is this a problem every week?
I'm just saying.
Stop it.
I'm just saying. No. Now
Stop it.
Now we got to figure out. You know,
No.
because Sam said we're
It's Lord of the Radio.
Really?
Yes.
That's it?
Yes.
It's official?
It's been official for like a year.
All right. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all the stuff that you love to
Silly
talk
rabbit.
about. That you love to talk about. We talk about it,
I
but
don't like to talk
tonight,
about this stuff. I don't know who told you that.
tonight we got one topic, and that is Black Panther. I am so excited to talk about
Why
this.
has it got to be Black Panther, though? I don't understand.
You know, it's funny. I have you off camera at that exact moment now. So if you're streaming us live on Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, you can see all the cool new toys that we have to do. We've got awesome stuff. But let's do a little homework first. We're going to give you everything that... seriously, I have not been this excited to talk about a movie in a while. So this is a good one.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Did you like it that much? Is that what you're saying? You enjoyed it so much?
Secrets of the Sire. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Instagram, it's mdolce64. Twitter, it's Michael_Dolce.
Can we talk about it while we're on the show?
SoundCloud.com/Secrets of the Sire, SIRE, iHeartRadio, Secrets of the Sire, iTunes. Go search Secrets of the Sire. You get a little trend there, right? Just go look up Secrets of the Sire and you'll find us. In fact, Twitter, you could probably look us up on Secrets of the Sire as well too. So Hassan, this is the kind of cool part that about what I'm really excited to talk about, right?
Really?
So before we actually did any of this stuff, right? Before we actually saw the movie, I actually saw the movie today. Full confession.
Slacker.
I actually think I'm really excited that I did, because then I'd have to wait 3 or 4 days to actually kind of talk my immediate reaction.
That gives you time to cultivate what your thoughts are. Though.
No, my thoughts are pretty cultivated. Yeah, they just are. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're good with
That's what you call it? You call it cultivation?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Our thoughts,
Gotcha.
My thoughts are
I call
solid.
it fertilization. But
my thoughts are solid, trust me.
Yes. Well, they're a consistent substance. I'll call them that.
So before...
Solid, I don't know.
Before the show, and before I saw the movie, I am coming up with all of these tertiary topics.
Ooh,
in
nice.
case,
Big word.
The movie doesn't live up to the hype, right? In case the movie is I don't want to say Wonder Woman, maybe Wonder Woman and Jace, where we had some problems with it. So, okay, is this a breakthrough for African Americans? Yes. For the director, the African American cast, I had a whole thing on that.
Is that what you think?
Is this manufactured hype? Is this social media? Is this social justice warriors hyping it up? Does this mean...
Warriors.
If you're not African American, you can't be critical. That was a post that was pretty popular, and we will get into that a little bit too.
It was your post.
And then also, likewise, kind of like for me, Avengers was amazing because it was a culmination of things. It was also a culmination of seeing characters I grew up with. So maybe my perspective is skewed because maybe African Americans can view this right because African Americans can view this as their culmination of coming up. Also, Black Panther comics don't really sell well, and they still don't sell well. So is this manufactured? We can throw all those points out the window. We can talk about a movie that was so engaging and has so many great points to really kind of talk about. We don't have to come up with fluff here. We can actually talk about the movie, and that makes me excited and happy. Give me your off the top thoughts on Black Panther.
Off the top of my head.
Well, saying? You had time to cultivate your thoughts. You saw it a few days ago. See what I did there? Do you want?
Yeah, a few days ago was only Monday, but yeah.
Do you want to give me mine? I'll give you mine.
No, I can answer the question.
Okay.
I liked it. I thought it was a strong movie. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the answer to all these other questions or whether it is...
No. Throw those out. Just talk about the movie.
I'm making a comment about it.
Okay, all right. As long as you're doing it of your own devices.
Yeah, that was part of the questionnaire you laid down, right? You know.
No. I'm saying I had all these things in case the movie kind of sucked, and then we had to kind of talk about all those other things.
You kind of knew that movie wasn't going to suck because it's a Marvel movie, and pretty much in 10 years they haven't sucked. Even Iron Man 3 didn't suck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think the closest that they came to doing a poor movie, as far as I was concerned, was Age of Ultron.
Yeah,
and that's just because it was like a kitchen sink movie.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah. However,
oh, hang on. While you're collecting your thoughts, this is a spoiler edition of Secrets of the Sire. So if you haven't seen the movie, Brian Everham, who hasn't seen it yet, still listen, but know that you're going to get spoiled. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I had to do it. Spoiler alert.
You know what?
Okay, go ahead.
I thought it was a great movie. All right. So what's next?
So I'll go into a little detail of why I thought it was such a strong movie, right? I think Ryan Coogler, first of all, is the MVP of that movie. I think he shoots the hell out of this movie, right? Let's talk about world building, right, for a second, right? He creates an entire world. I think one of the things that you've talked about on the show, and I do agree with you to a very full extent, is, show me something different. Show me something I haven't seen before. Show me something that, can kind of knock my socks off a little bit. And I'm not saying that the shots of Wakanda are necessarily stuff we haven't seen before.
No, it's just an advanced, city. Another, super... advanced, stellar, futuristic city.
Correct.
Kind of thing.
But what he does in his directing, I think, and I think you and I both agree on this, right? I think most modern movie directors, Ryan Johnson, are they're like video game, they're like not video, so they're like music video directors. It's how quickly can we show something? Like how, much gravitas can we show this location by quickly zooming from a bird's eye view to a worm's eye view, and we're gonna give this overarching drone effect. Yeah. Ryan Coogler lets everything breathe.
I agree with you because Ryan Coogler's handing of T'Challa when he got blown into space, was way different.
Yes.
Than when Leia was in space and just kind of floating around.
Yeah.
Because the Black Panther in space. Way better done.
Yeah.
Just the way he was kind of floating around and he moonwalked back into the and all those stereotypes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know.
He's the guy is a fantastic director in and of itself. Creed is a great movie. Creed is a way better movie than it deserved.
Than it should be, right?
Yeah.
You're sitting there and you're like, when you heard, saw the trailer and you heard, you're like, really?
Yeah, because
you're mining this well again.
It's the 7th sequel to Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 6th sequel to Rocky.
Yeah.
And it's come on. I know you're shuffling things around, you're changing the focus, but come on.
Yeah.
How we're really gonna go back to the mat on this, literally. And it's a great movie. It's really a heartfelt movie because, and this is the reason that Black Panther is such a strong film, is because it has really strong characters in it.
Yeah.
And the characters kind of are a through line through the entire thing. So you understand the pathology. You understand immediately T'Challa's relationship with I forget her name. I'm so sorry. With his love interest.
Oh, Lupita! Right? You could just say actress Lupita Nyong'o. She's amazing.
Yeah. She's great. But I mean, there's just the way the scene is set up, where he kind of decimates a whole truckload of people.
Sure.
And as soon as he sees her, he's like, "Hi."
Yeah.
I mean, it's just and just in the way that's done, the dynamic, the juxtaposition between those two scenes sets everything up. Plus, they kind of rib him a little bit in the beginning. Don't freeze when you see her. Be strong. The fact that she won't stay, they kind of set up the pathology between the two of them. His sister is fantastic. Through it, she's wisecracking. She's telling jokes. They have a lot of banter between them. It's not in a lot of these movies. Sometimes when they're they're a focal point on another culture.
Right.
done by a mainstream, kind of a mainstream like studio or something like that. And
Sure.
a lot of it turns into pandering, where they're trying to really make this this new society, or this new culture, palatable to our culture.
Sure.
So that you see that and you go, well, they're not so different, and that means I can watch them and I can like them and I can be
right.
But it really wasn't. There wasn't a lot of pandering. It really was, and it wasn't a lot of African culture in your face.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too.
So it was
in
like
fact,
it was just
in
a
fact,
fantasy
Wakanda
culture.
was almost at odds with what Africa is or isn't, in today's society, right? I mean, Wakanda is supposed to be the height of civilization, yet they turn their back on the rest of Africa. I mean, you have that dynamic as well too.
Right.
You have that storyline running through. So there is, I mean, there's so much depth to that.
Yeah, which is really solid. And Michael B. Jordan is amazing in the
one of the best Marvel villains we've seen.
Yeah, I would have to say, except for the name.
What, Michael B. Jordan?
Not his name, the character's name. But yeah, it's not his fault. It's not Marvel's fault. They had to use the character. But
Killmonger's not bad.
No, that's like Kilgrave from Jessica Jones. It's like a little on the nose.
That's like naming your butler Jeeves.
Yes, exactly.
Come on. You know how he's going to turn out. You know at that point.
Come on. And he's going to murder you because the butler always did it.
Yeah.
That's why I have problems with butlers.
Let me say this too, right? And I think this is a big thing that I found in this movie, right?
Say something big.
This is the first Marvel movie where you actually feel stakes. The first half of the movie, before Michael B. Jordan is in this movie, feels like a traditional Marvel movie. It feels kind of lighthearted, even though there's action. There is the scene with Claw in South Korea. You kind of think like, okay, maybe there's some danger.
Right.
But then Michael B. Jordan steps really steps in, because at first he's kind of playing this like, ha ha ha, this is Wakandan. I know what I'm doing. I actually thought like, is Claw going to turn on this guy? Like, does he know what he's getting into? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, this guy knows exactly what he's getting into. He's doing this. It's huge.
Right.
This is the first Marvel movie ever where it didn't feel like a Marvel movie. By the middle of that movie, this is not a Marvel movie. This is a movie. And Michael B. Jordan is amazing. We're going to call her Michonne because I'm going to butcher her name, Dania Guerrera. She's amazing in it. His sister's amazing in it. There's his mom's amazing. Forrest Whitaker's amazing. M'Baku's amazing. Even the guy from Get Out. At first I couldn't separate the fact that he was from Get Out, and I was like, well, why is the guy from Get Out?
I spent the whole movie telling him to get out.
I was like,
get that guy out of here.
why is the guy from Get Out there, right?
Yeah. And why is he angry?
So
he kind of turned angry. Like that was another kind of really quick plot turnaround.
We're gonna get into more. Let me ask you real quick. What's your rating of the movie? If you X out of X stars, X number out of X number. What do you give it?
I would give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would say it's like the greatest movie ever, right?
No.
And I'll tell you why when we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumter, the Potentiator. Tune in every Tuesday, 9 to 10 Eastern Time, and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential. Live life your way on talkradio.nyc.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors.
Woo woo!
What's that?
Talk Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Joined by my esteemed colleague and co-host, Lord of the Radio.
Lord of the Radio.
Lord of the Radio.
Thank you very much.
Do you have to apply? Do you have to like go to college for that? Is there some sort of like classes?
I could tell you how to become Lord of the Radio, but then you'd become Lord of the Radio, and I wouldn't be Lord of the Radio
This is
anymore.
very true.
No such thing as co-lord.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all that fun stuff. I know a lot of people chimed in on Facebook earlier today wanting to call in and talk about the movie. Specifically, can you criticize the movie, right? That was a big topic. And we are, like I said, I had a whole thing prepared for this in case the movie really wasn't that engaging or if it was just okay. Even if it was just okay, we kind of prepared it. But that's still a good topic to talk about, and we are going to talk about it. So call in 877-480-4120, unless you're listening to us on iTunes after the fact.
Yeah, call
or
in
SoundCloud
anyway.
After the fact.
Talk to Sam.
Yeah, well, you could sample many of the Talk Radio Dine NYC hosts.
It's
our Daily Magic.
It's a crapshoot at that point.
From Kai Cole. Sam has his own show.
Which of the other shows you'll end up calling in on, and maybe they'll be nice to you and answer your question.
So we will talk about the racist element to criticism. We will talk about the hypocritical element to denying criticism. But for right now, we're going to talk about the fatal flaw of the movie. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Or a 3.5 out of 4, which comes out to about the same.
Which is kind of the same as a 9 out of 10.
Exactly. And I'm going to give you the fatal flaw of the movie. Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That guy, he, not for this movie, he is going to win an Oscar. One day. I don't know when, I don't know where. Ryan Coogler is going to win for Best Director one day. Michonne, we're going to just call her Michonne because I don't want to butcher Dania Guerrera's name. I think I butchered it already, but whatever.
Yeah.
Michonne, unbelievable in this movie. His sister had a nice little role in this movie. His love interest, Lupita Nyong'o, beautiful, savvy, like she was just.
Yes, we established Peter helped us. It's Nakia.
Nakia
is her name.
Amazing in this movie. Martin Freeman even kind of steps up and does a lot of good things. M'Baku, amazing. They're all better than T'Challa. This entire movie, I'm waiting for T'Challa. I'm waiting for the main character. I'm waiting for the Black Panther to do something for me that was extraordinary to make him rise up. Now, I thought when he, again, spoilers, in case anybody's there. When they gave us the scene where Killmonger presumably kills him, and I'm like, okay, he's obviously not dead. He's obviously going to come around.
Oh, I thought he was dead.
Oh, he did?
No.
Movie over?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, I got up and left. I didn't see the rest, honestly.
I
was surprised.
You're just faking it till you make it. I like it.
I'm just mumbling through it.
That's what I do every week, actually. I never saw the movie. No. So I'm like, okay, he's going to learn something from his father. His father's going to give him something. Something's going to tie in. They kind of do that in the final battle. He ends up on the train tracks. And but that's not even him doing it, right? His suit is made by his sister. The tracks are made by his sister. Everyone else is, I'm sitting there going, there is no reason why Killmonger loses this battle the second time. There's nothing extraordinary to me. There's no cross the streams moment where you sit there and go, cross the streams. It's risky, but it just might work. This proves why the Ghostbusters are going to beat the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. There's no moment at the end there where I'm sitting there. First of all, I think
what was the
Michonne,
reason that Batman was able to beat Bane when he came back?
Well, but that's again another reason why I feel like The Dark Knight is a stronger movie than what is it? Whatever
Dark Knight Rises.
The Dark Knight Rises. See, couldn't even tell you the title. There's this thing where I'm watching Michonne the entire time, right? And I'm sitting there going, she should be the king. She should be the king. I'm more afraid of her.
But okay.
Killmonger. I'm more afraid of this guy.
I get what you're saying.
He beats Michonne.
But you're talking about enthusiasm, right? You're talking about like enthusiasm and like energy.
No,
like
I'm
high
talking.
energy,
I'm
he's
talking
like kind
about.
He's a pretty more much a low key character.
I'm talking about there was nothing that he demonstrated aside from the fact that he had superpowers that were given to him that made him more special, more extraordinary, or better than anyone around him. If they'd have given me a scene where he playfully fights Michonne's character and beats her in sparring, right? And he's always a little bit better than her. Then I would sit there and go, well, you know what? This guy's pretty good. I don't get that. And if he's relying on Civil War to give us that gravitas, it doesn't work in this case because I think the rest of the film, you've introduced new characters now that I haven't seen that I feel are more powerful and stronger than our main character.
Well, the power behind him is the responsibility that he has, you know?
He's a great king. You're right.
And so, and his, you know, his pathos and his, you know, his decisions as to whether or not to keep the kingdom the same as the way his father had it, or to change it as he sees fit, you know, in accordance with the, you know, the changing of the times.
Sure.
So that's the struggle that he was fighting with. And so when someone brought a physical battle to him,
yeah,
and he felt honor bound to accommodate, you know, and he lost the battle.
Yeah.
His I guess excuse the term, but it's actually a legitimate term. His come to Jesus moment was when he recovered and he realized that he had to change the entire kingdom in order for, you know, for progress, for Wakanda to survive, and also to help the rest of the world. Michael B. Jordan wanted to, because it's in these stories the hero and the villain always want the exact same thing,
right, but
they want it in different ways. So Michael B. Jordan wanted violence and destruction, and T'Challa now realized he wants the same thing, but he wants it benevolently.
Sure.
He wants to do it through influence.
Right.
So
that's his outcome.
That's the strength of his character. That's
But at any point, did you think that he could beat Killmonger? Because I didn't. And I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this moment where he is smarter, cleverer, special.
I think he couldn't beat him because his mind was in conflict, and he was not conflicted when he went back.
I don't know. We have a caller. We got Michael Mamano on the line. Michael, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Dolce, how's it going?
Doing pretty good. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I really agree with your friend over there, because your whole thing about him not being physically strong enough, like, I kind of see where you're going, but I mean, you mentioned the whole sparring thing, but then I think that would have weakened like Denai Guerrero's character. I think it's kind of like a very like you see it in Game of Thrones, where the question of, you know, does strength make you a good king? And I think that T'Challa's strength has it's far more important that he is, you know, a moral ruler, or that he's looking at these questions. I mean, the great thing about the movie is there's no easy answers, and, you know, what was good about the isolationism, what was bad, how is he going to reconcile the traditional way of doing things with what he feels to be morally right, and how is he going to take Killmonger's rhetoric and, you know, which, I mean,
those are all valid, yeah. No, those are all valid, but those are like, that's like the second story, though. The most immediate harm is that he's about to get killed. Like, to me, I'm sitting there going, there's no way he can beat this guy, because I know he's not stronger than him, and so I'm waiting for him to do something. He never does.
Well, your whole thing is oh, it was the suit, oh, it was this, but like, that's not entirely relevant, because any superhero movie can make it all about who lands the hardest punch. Yeah, he's being assisted by all this other stuff, but I actually think that's part of his strength, is that he's able to be humble enough as a king to draw the strength from the people around him, especially from the women around him.
Sure.
He has a very evolved masculinity in this movie, which I think sets him apart from a lot of Marvel heroes.
I think I don't disagree with the masculinity comment. I don't disagree with the fact that there are so many strong women around him propping him up. However, the movie wasn't Black Panther and Friends. If this was an ensemble movie,
we're talking about,
and I'm not saying he has to land the hardest punch.
Yeah, but you're talking about.
I'm saying he's got to show me something that makes me believe that there's something unique and special about him. Because quite frankly, I think Michael B. Jordan's a better, stronger character. I'm looking at Michael B.
But that
Jordan.
doesn't make him a better character.
Yeah, but what kind of strength is it? To me, what's unique and what's special about him is that he's able to integrate the influences of the people around him. He doesn't have to rely entirely on himself and what he can bring to the table. He gains wisdom from multiple sources.
Sure.
He gains age from multiple sources.
And this is going to benefit him when he does eventually defeat the bad guy. But that moment when he's about to defeat the bad guy, and I'm sitting there saying, 9 times out of 10, he's going to lose this fight.
Haven't you ever been in a fight before and you lost, and then you went and fought again?
Right.
And you won?
And you gained some sort of knowledge from that previous fight that was apparent and evident, and you go, I know what this guy's weakness is. There was no weakness in Killmonger. He just happened to beat him because that was the moment of the movie where he's supposed to beat him.
He used the technology to beat him. He knew that
No, no, Sam. Okay, you guys couldn't hear this off camera, but Sam's like, no, he made the move where he grabbed the knife and he hit him, and then Killmonger goes, nice move, bro. And it's like, really, of all the things you could have done?
But he weakened the armor.
Sure.
By being in the at the
monorail. I agree, but he was also weakened as well too. So Killmonger theoretically could have killed him too, right? There's no.
But that's
so. Michael, I know you are a writer. You're a writer, and I know this. And
I don't understand why this is a conflict.
When you're writing a central character, there's got to be something unique and special about this character that is above and beyond every other character around him. I feel personally that they went out of their way. All the other characters around him are greater than him.
And that's monomyth.
Yeah, I think my thing is
we're not using monomyth.
I just don't
in that.
agree that. I mean, yeah, you're right. You do need to give your protagonist something that distinguishes them and that sets them apart. I just don't necessarily think it has to be, in a fight. Like if you're dealing with a superhero, what sets them apart isn't necessarily their physical strength. It's their way of thinking. Like, to really, go way far away from the topic, but still be related to it, I just did a review for Den of Geek on, Thundercats, and there was this whole thing about how when Lion was being tested against the other Thundercats, how can he possibly stand up against someone who's stronger than him, or faster than him,
sure,
or whatever, and it's not that he can directly defeat them, but it's in his way of thinking and how he gets around that problem. So I think that T'Challa's strength,
I agree with
distinguishing, isn't that he's got the bigger muscles or that he's faster or that whatever. It's how he acts and behaves and how he thinks his way out of the problem, how he adapts to the situation.
He beat him by knocking the spear out of his hand.
From the people around him to sort of to adjust the trajectory of what he's doing. To me, that's what makes him special.
All right. Well, you know what? We appreciate the call. I really do appreciate it. Good to talk to you as well. When we come back, we got one of the stuntmen from the movie, Ricky Barksdale Jr., coming on, talking about the movie. He's also been in a whole bunch of other things. He's going to tell us he's only been in one scene, but it's okay. We're going to talk about Black Panther.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
My vomit streak goes back to the 2010 Super Bowl.
You haven't vomited in 8 years?
I have an iron stomach. My 2-year-old son takes after me as well, too. He did the power hour, too, but it was milk. Still didn't vomit.
Oh, well, I guess that's settled.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Side. I want to thank our caller, Michael Momano, for calling in. If anybody wants to call in, 877-480-4120. In segment 4, we will get into whether or not it's okay to criticize the movie, which I think it's a 4 out of 5 movie with one fatal flaw, which no one else agrees with, but that's okay. That's the beauty of it. We're going to take
it's got flaws.
We'll divergence. We're going to Secrets of the Sire. We're going to take a little break.
No idea what the heck that is.
But we're not. At the same time, we're going to welcome Ricky Barksdale Jr. Ricky.
Hey, how you doing?
How's it going, sir?
I'm doing all right. Yourself?
Very, very good. Now, I know. You, when we first talked, you're like, I did one scene on Black Panther, but that's a huge movie. That's like being like, yeah, I had a walk on in Star Wars. You know, it's like, come on, now, don't be humble. Tell us about your experience, on Black Panther. I want to know everything.
Oh, it was fun. It was my very first feature film because prior to that, I worked on independent films and TV shows. And this was the very first movie I worked on as a stuntman, which is pretty fun. I learned a lot from the guys down there. The seasoned veterans, and it was just overall a good experience.
What was your scene that you were in? Like, what were you a part of?
So I was one of the Jabari warriors, and it is the final fight where Black Panther is fighting the Border Tribe members by himself, and then we come in as like the cavalry to come save the day or save him so he can continue doing his mission.
That's just awesome. I mean, it is just awesome. It's funny. I mean, we host a podcast and a radio show, and we. We don't get paid to give our opinions yet, but we'll get paid eventually. And so we are kind of like being hypercritical, or at least I am being hypercritical about certain things. But at the same time, It's a friggin' cool movie. It's the biggest movie in the world. Like, there's got to be a sense of pride for you, right?
Oh, a lot of pride. For me, the reason why is because Hollywood is known for saying, "Oh, we can't sell, to people of color. We can't sell to just one genre. We can't." And prime example, think of Gods of Egypt. They cast, a group of Europeans.
Yeah, Scottish guy, as an Egyptian god.
Yeah, it's like, alrighty then. Okay, let's get Gerard Butler. Where's he from? He's from Scotland?
Yeah.
Makes total sense to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
It works. I don't. And T'Challa is actually in that movie.
Yeah.
With, what's his name?
Chadwick
Boswick.
Yeah.
Is actually in that movie. Bosman.
But you were saying though.
So one of the things for me is like, growing up being a black male in America, when I was young, anytime I would watch a movie and it had black actors in it, a good portion of the time we was always a sidekick. You wasn't the lead role. If you wasn't Denzel, you wasn't the lead role.
Sure.
It was always the stereotypes that we played: the pimps, the thugs, drug users, drug dealers, and it was always a negative light. When I saw Wesley Snipes in Passenger 57 as a kid, I think I was like, 10 years old? Yeah, I know, 10 watching rated R movies. But I was like, wow, we can actually be the action star of this movie? And it was a really inspirational thing for me as a kid. I'm like, wow, I didn't know we could be the good guys in an action movie. And then when he came out with Blade, when Wesley Snipes came out in Blade, I was like, wow, we can actually be superheroes. We can have a black superhero. So it's a real big thing. And it kind of inspired me to where I'm at now,
I'm going to ask you one more question about Black Panther, and then I do want to get into your journey into being a stuntman, because I think it's absolutely ridiculously cool and ridiculous at the same time.
Okay.
What was the spirit like on set? I mean, again, I know you were there for the one scene, but I mean, was there a palpable, sense of pride, accomplishment, or was it just what was it business like? I mean, what was it like?
It was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of business, but it was a lot of pride because this is our opportunity. That's what it was. Like, this was our opportunity to show that we can do it.
Yeah.
We can make movies that people of all races will want to go to see. And the business aspect is that we have to be on our P's and Q's, because one person does wrong, we're all going to be looked at as bad.
What was
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was going to say.
For the most part, it was just a good positive vibe.
What was Coogler like? How was his directing style? Because I don't know if you caught the first segment. I mean, we both agree. I thought he shot the hell out of the movie. I thought it was some of the best directing I've seen in terms of, especially a Marvel movie. How was it? Kind of working with him, and what was his direction like on set?
Well, we really didn't have much direction from him. Most of it came from the second unit coordinator, the stunt coordinator, which was Bryson Counts, and Dan Brown, and the fight coordinator, Chris Brewster. So we got our directions mainly from them. But for the brief moment that I did talk to him, he was a really nice guy, really laid back, and, I hope to work with him again in the future, He has a vision, and when he has a vision, he's very clear about what he wants, and that was the most impressive thing for someone so young and with a lot of pressure on him, because he's the first, African-American director to do anything Marvel, and to have the budget that he had, which was $200 million.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of pressure. I'm sure there was a lot of pressure on him to do this right. And it was just a great experience watching him work and watching everyone else work.
Give the audience a rundown of some of the other comic book related shows I know you've done some stunts on, and then tell us how the heck you become a stuntman, because I think that's crazy.
So far, the only other comic book related show that I worked on was Luke Cage Season 2.
Okay.
All right.
And that will be out either summer or the end of this year.
Tell us everything about Luke Cage Season 2. Give us the spoilers. No, go ahead.
Yeah, tell us what happens at the end.
Can't do that.
Oh.
Is Luke Cage in it? Yes.
Of course.
How did you do this? I mean, how do you become a stuntman? I think that's honestly, like, you're putting yourself in physical harm, theoretically, and that's your job.
So my journey was a really long journey, if you guys got time to listen.
Sure. We got all day.
I was
got
in
2
the
minutes.
military for 8 years. And when I got out, I was in peak physical condition. And I started off modeling. I was like, you know what? I want to do some modeling. So when I do get old, ugly, and fat, my kids can see, hey, Dad actually looked good. That's how he got Mom. It started off that way. And then I'd say about a year later, I ran into a friend from high school. And, we were just chatting and, just talking. And he asked me what I was doing. Like, I'm modeling. And he had asked me, do I think want to get into acting? I was like, yeah, it's crossing my mind. So he forwarded me to a company called Casting Networks. And they handle mainly background work. So I signed up. And I just started doing background work. And, fast forward, after doing that for about 2 years, I got to learn a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. I used to think making a movie was easy, and it was like a regular 5-8 hour day. I was wrong.
Like, this job is not
wrong. Like,
this job is not easy at all.
The simplest scene, it's amazing how they change everything around for one simple scene.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then after that, I ran into a guy, a buddy of mine, Hassan. He's an actor, an amazing martial artist. He had introduced me to these guys that ran a company called Cinematic Fight Studio. And they needed, martial artists for a fight scene. And then he asked me if I wanted to do that. I was like, of course, yeah, why not? Let me just add more to my arsenal. I did the fight scene, and then I was hooked to it from there. I've been hooked to it ever since. It's like I had no aspiration to be a stuntman. It's just one of those things that kind of fell into my lap. And once I got into it, that's when I started taking it very seriously.
Has it been mostly fighting and stunts, or has there been any real danger that you've encountered being a stuntman?
With the exception of what I did on Luke Cage, which I cannot say, that was the only dangerous one for me. I haven't had any real serious, dangerous stuff yet.
Is that something that you think about? I mean, you have Deadpool. There was a stuntman that was injured. Walking Dead, a stuntman was killed. I mean, does that ever cross your mind when you're out there?
All the time. All the time.
Yeah.
I just think, okay, let me do the best I can to make it look real for the audience while still being safe. If you're not nervous, then something's wrong.
Well, yeah.
Like, and when I mean nervous, I mean like, okay, you know what? Let me make sure I do this right. I hope everything goes well.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where do you see yourself? Like, what are you hoping to kind of go? Or do you want to get back into acting? Or are you 100% stuntman? Are you where do you see your career?
I can do both, because I did go to acting school. I went to the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts about 2 years ago. So if the opportunity arises for me to do acting, I'll take that. But, my main focus is stunt work.
Well, I can guarantee you being on this show will not lead to any success for you. But we thank you for coming on, and I want to tell the audience where they can reach you and hit you up online.
Sure. If you guys want, you can check out my company called Screen Combat Guys.
Mm-hmm.
We teach actors and actresses the basics of film combat, how to sell, how to react to hits, basic falls, and we choreograph, film, and edit a fight scene for them. And the goal is to hopefully elevate an actor's career, Cool. You can find us on Instagram as well and Facebook. If you want my Instagram and Facebook, it's Ricky Barksdale. That's RICKYBARKSDALE. And yeah, if you guys like what you see, spread the word, because this is a numbers game. That's how you get your business out there.
That's it. Ricky, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. When we come back, I was a little critical of Black Panther, but not really. But is it okay to be critical of Black Panther, or is this another Wonder Woman? When we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you feeling unhappy with your body, shape, or size? Ever feel out of control with food? I'm Elizabeth from Nourish the Soul, and on this show, you will uncover the root to these imbalances and discover a permanent solution to having a healthy relationship to food and your body. Join us every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
They released the full trailer, and I gotta tell you,
all's forgiven,
fun.
Huh? All's forgiven.
No, okay.
That's how most Star Wars fans are like, "Woo, this is gonna be great! I can't wait! Oh, awesome! I can't wait! I can wait."
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. I want to thank our guest, Ricky Barksdale Jr. Again, go check him out online. Awesome story. Just it still amazes me anybody that does that for a living. Because I like to be as physically lazy as possible. So for them, they
can be lazy too. You can be a lazy stuntman.
Maybe
you get killed. But I mean, you can still be lazy.
Maybe
you can not jump out of that car before it blows
up. You could be a stand-in stuntman.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot of lazy stuff. It just doesn't mean it will get you anywhere.
Yeah, maybe not.
It'll probably get you killed.
So we were talking about a couple of different things, and one thing I did want to kind of circle back to.
What were you talking about?
In terms of Black Panther, what was your fatal flaw of the movie?
My fatal flaw of the film was, it was a fatal flaw all the way up until they actually addressed it. And then, and just because they mentioned it, I was satisfied.
Eased it, right? It eased it, yeah.
But they left the kid there, You know?
Yeah.
But then T'Challa's
agree
like,
with that.
T'Challa's like, well, why'd you leave the kid there?
there?
And so that's in the industry terms, they call that hanging a lantern on it.
Yeah.
Because that's like a huge, like, this guy would not be here kicking my ass and taking over my kingdom if you had just grabbed him and taken him home with you.
Right.
So at least he says it. His father's answer was bullshit.
Right.
Excuse my language, but it was like, yeah, exactly. That was a lie I chose to live with. And if I was T'Challa, I would have been like, I don't accept that answer. You're from the spiritual world. You could give me a real answer.
Right.
But
I do agree with that too.
Yeah, but at least he addressed it, in which case it wasn't as long as someone else in the film has a problem with a plot hole, it's suddenly, mysteriously, and miraculously no longer a plot hole.
Yeah.
And it becomes one of those obstacles in life that just doesn't make any sense. But as long as someone acknowledges this does not make any sense, why are we dealing with this?
Right.
Then it's suddenly not a flaw.
Right. Because there's one thing if you observe a problem that the people on screen are oblivious to.
It's great.
It does take it away. And I do agree with you actually.
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes big fish people die into space.
I do agree with that. I think there is definitely something to be said about that. Where I was watching that, going, why did they leave? Why did they leave?
It's kind of
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, it was kind of a strange thing. I understand the point they were trying to make. They were trying to give you a parallel. They were trying to say, like, the importance of keeping Wakanda and private is more important than everybody else on the planet, right? And the science of isolationism is we are preserving our way of life, because once other people discover where we are, what we have, and what we can do, we won't be able to keep them out, or we'll be in constant war trying to keep them out. So I get the pathology behind the desire to stay isolated, but I also
it wasn't the strongest plot thread of the movie. It wasn't the strongest thing, but it was enough where I didn't.
It again depends on how you approach it.
Yeah.
If you look at a situation, and I'm sorry to play this card, if you come from a culture that has been decimated by colonialism, then it would resonate very strongly with you.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it from another perspective, or you're not even thinking of it from that perspective, and you're looking at it perhaps from an angle of selfishness, like you guys have all this stuff, and there's this even Africa all by itself without the rest of the world is a continent that has a lot of problems, right? Why aren't you out there helping everybody else?
That to me, that's not the problem. I'm just saying in terms of like leaving the child behind, I feel like his reasoning was not the strongest.
But I'm saying that coincides with
I agree with you. I'm just saying that it was workable though. It was workable to me in my head where I quickly kind of what you said, T'Challa kind of acknowledges it, and I go, okay. Like it wasn't enough for me to be like, wait a minute, this whole movie just fell apart. Wait.
It would have fallen apart if you had watched that whole movie and then afterwards I said something like, "How come they didn't just take the kid with them?"
Yeah.
And then that's like I don't have an answer for that.
That's the glass shattering moment.
Yes.
What?
This movie sucks now. But if he acknowledges it and he says something, and you find yourself going, ask him that question.
Yeah.
And even if he gets a bad answer, the fact that he asked the question suddenly doesn't make it a plot hole anymore.
So I'm watching our broadcast on Facebook, and I see the scene where he's in Singapore, and he's Black Panther's on top of the car. I was really hoping Ricky Barksdale Jr. was the guy on top of the car. Like, that's what I was hoping. I was like, come on, let's not our guest be that guy.
Oh, come on, he did a great job.
Oh no, I'm not knocking what he did. I'm just saying I really wish that would be really cool, because there was I think overall, look, before we kind of shift dynamics.
Ricky Barksdale is not CGI. He's a real person, which is why he was not the one on the car.
He's being excluded for his realness, his tangibleness, his tangibility.
He sadly had to settle for roles of
actual
physicality and humanity.
Oh, God, there's so many things wrong with the world. No, I think we all, like I said, we're very high on the movie. Coogler was amazing. Amazing director. cast was amazing. Even the guy from Get Out, even though I had to get over the fact that he was from Get Out, was amazing. So I think we're really high on it. Not everyone was high on it, and I want to bring up a quick story. And this is kind of what we talked about in my little teaser post on Facebook. A critic gave Black Panther its first bad review, and people are not buying the reason. This is from the Insider.com. On Thursday, Black Panther got its first and only negative critic review so far. It was inevitable. Not everyone can all like the same movies, with the exception of Paddington 2, which still has a 100% rating.
That is a ridiculously great movie.
That movie's garbage.
I watched that movie
garbage. I'm walking into Rotten Tomatoes.
I had many ideas about humanity, and then I watched that movie, and I was like, no, we have to save everyone.
Is there a moratorium on when you can actually review the movie? Is there can I go in right now and give Paddington 2 a negative
if
star?
You want it to be a douche instead of a dolce, you can go ahead and do that.
And feel like suddenly, out of nowhere, Paddington 2, worst film ever.
That's how you get the podcast in the mainstream. It's like, this guy from this middling podcast came and gave us the worst review.
Speaking of the mainstream, co-created by Talent Caldwell and myself, and Tony Moy and Darren Sanchez, will be in stores in April. You've been seeing the ads running through the whole podcast. Well, way to go, Hassan. All right, but Black Panther was so close to keeping a perfect score until Thursday. Reviews for Black Panther came out, and the film had a 100% rating for 2 days. Critics praised the movie for its villain, played by Michael B. Jordan. Again, spoiler. Hate the fact that he died at the end. Didn't like that. Kind of wanted him. I want him to be fighting Thanos. We got Thanos coming. We need everything we can possibly.
Get to your story.
As well as its political statement and bold departure from the tired superhero formula film. A handful of critics called it the best movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it's arguably one of the best. There's no question. But not everybody loved it. Film critic Ed Power, writing for the Irish Independent, gave Black Panther its first negative review. And the reason for the bad review, Power didn't think Black Panther beat up enough bad guys. What he doesn't get to do much of is jump around beating up bad guys. That's a shame. Marvel has finally given us an African superhero. The hope surely was that he would be allowed to do superheroic
He would be a boorish thug
things.
that beats up a whole bunch of bad guys.
That he would be allowed to do superheroic things. Some people took to Twitter to criticize the critic for missing the point of the movie, which marks a significant moment in Hollywood and culture. They also questioned Power's tastes. This is the first negative review of the movie. This brave soul is going to be destroyed. Press F to pay respects. This one negative reviewer of Black Panther gave it a rotten because T'Challa doesn't beat up enough bad guys. Really, my dude? The guy who gave Black Panther 3 out of 5 and destroyed its 100% rating waffles through his review, ending stating that there's not enough of beating up bad guys. This review lacks any sort of substance, and the writer doesn't actually make any points. I don't like Birdman because I found out via Instagram that it's an ex-boyfriend's favorite movie, and this guy's reasoning about Black Panther is dumber than that.
That's the reason I didn't like the Floyd. It's an ex-girlfriend's band. And I can't like Pink Floyd because of it. I can't tell Floyd fans that because I'll be murdered.
Not so bold prediction. The first critic to write a rotten review of Black Panther will be White. Even less bold prediction.
Oh, boy.
Armand White.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Well, but that's okay. So we talked about this last week, though, right?
That's terrible.
We talked about this.
Look, the bottom line, though, his reason for not liking it is horrible.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay? It's the same as what I've always said, someone's review of It Didn't Have to Happen, and therefore it is bad because we didn't need it.
Sure.
And the logic of all art is we don't need any art, So if you're going to criticize something, get into the tangibilities of the story. Tell me exactly what it was that didn't land with you,
right?
And then I will accept your. But if you're saying, well, he didn't beat up enough people, shut up. I get that. Now, yes, all the other baggage they laid on top of it is ridiculous. That's and then the guy's white and he's trying to ruin the movie. That's stupid. That's that's what we're gonna deal with in the social stratosphere. In the hive mind, when the hive mind decides that you've overstepped or you stepped wrong, they're all gonna let you know, and it's all gonna be a pile on. It's all gonna be a bag of shit that you have to hold. And unfortunate, but if you came and you tarnished something that is really, precious to people, and your reason for tarnishing it is that you didn't, there wasn't enough purple in it, or something that incoherent, then yeah, there's gonna be vitriol, You know,
A couple other reviews. The trouble with highly anticipated Black Panther is it doesn't know what it wants to be: superhero extravaganza, activist action flick, James Bond
Why not
wannabe,
all those things?
or Coming to America.
Why does it have to know what it wants to be? If it's you know,
yeah.
If you explain that, well, it didn't work for me because I didn't know what the film was trying to be.
This one I think is a little weird.
That's a different argument.
This is a different one, right?
Are we not discussing these points? Okay.
No. Because I'm gonna circumvent the points here. We're gonna circle back in a second.
Well, we only have a lot of time.
Yeah. So now you distracted me.
I know.
The first point where he says he's not doing superheroic things is maybe this wasn't the kind of movie he thought he was going to get, and he didn't get it, so he wasn't happy with it. I can buy that, right?
But that's a bad review because you decided it was supposed to be something that it wasn't.
Agreed, but again, I can at least understand maybe where he's coming from.
Behind that.
Black Panther struggles. There are a lot of things. So in this case, you're saying why can't it be all these things, and he's saying it needs to pick one, right? So it's subjective. Okay, I can understand.
That is subjective. Yeah.
This guy. From Films and Review, the only thing that did not make it into Black Panther was an appearance by Thor, bloated with every trope in the genre. See, I disagree with that completely.
I totally disagree with that.
I think this is the one Marvel movie right now that's not a Marvel movie. I think every other movie is a Marvel movie. I think this is a movie. Like, this is an actual, honest-to-God movie.
Well, no, I would say Winter Soldier was probably a strong movie.
Yeah.
You know? Had a lot of stuff from... It wasn't overblown, didn't have a lot of stuff from the Avengers. But it had enough scenery in it to make it related to the Avengers and make it
right.
It had enough DNA from the Avengers to actually work as a sequel to the Avengers, and so it was a really strong movie. I'd like to see the two of them back to back and decide which one is my favorite.
Yeah,
because Black Panther is if not
Black Panther's my top three.
Well,
easily.
Yeah. I'd have to see them to see which one, but it's between Winter Soldier and Black Panther right now.
All right. Well, we want to know what you guys think, so chime in. We're going to be talking about this all week long. We're going to do our reposts on Facebook. We want to know what you think of the movie. Is it your number one? Is it your number three? All that stuff. Next week, Jackie, the joke man, Martling himself will be in studio. Hassan will play the Howard role. I'll be the Robin of the group. Sam will be somebody. See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.